All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the final day of the NMFMA 2022 Local Food Connects Annual Conference. We're excited that you have all stuck with us through this last day, and we hope that you got a lot of valuable information to take away from the different sessions. As you probably heard me introduce myself a million times the past couple of days, I'm Michael Green. I'm the Good Food New Mexico coordinator for the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association. And I, along with Sophia Rose, are the tech assistants for today. So should you encounter any issues regarding technology, feel free to reach out to us. So I'll go ahead and drop my contact information in the chat just in case. So before we get started with the fun stuff, I'm going to cover some housekeeping items that will hopefully make the conference go a little more smoothly. So we will be using the same Zoom link for the rest of the day, so be sure to keep it handy. You also received last night an email with important documents and the agenda for today. So be sure to hold on to those because it kind of summarizes a little bit of what our presentations are about. So that's good. Hold on to. And you can hold on to those. So then on the Zoom screen, there are going to be three important buttons that you're going to use at the bottom. We're going to have the chat, so we do like you all to introduce yourselves so we know who's in attendance. And also if you want to share your contact information, that's great in case other people would like to follow up with you. Whenever you're sending your chat, just make sure that you're sending it to everyone.
I'm on a Zoom meeting.
I'm sorry, you at home?
Hold on.
Just make sure, that you're sending the chat to everybody, unless you're specifically only sending it to one other person. Also down at the bottom, there is a reactions button. And then the reactions button is where you'll raise your hand. So during the Q&As, or if you have a comment or something you want to do, you'll click on the reactions button and then you'll click on raise hand. And this will allow the moderator or the tech assistant to see that you have something to say. So we'll be able to promptly call on you when we see that. And then finally, at the bottom right corner of the screen, you'll see the exit session or leave meeting button. And so I would just encourage you to click that at the end of the day or at the end of the morning session. Another quick thing to say is you all entered the room as participants, as active participants. You have control over your video and your microphone. So be sure to keep yourself on mute until you are called on by the presenter or moderator or the tech assistant for your questions or comments. We do like to see your smiling faces. So if you want to keep your camera on so we can see who's out there, that's awesome too, but we also don't have to. Let's see. Again, if you have any tech issues, I will put my contact information in there and you can follow up with me, except while I'm presenting. I probably might be able to get to you then, but we'll figure something out. Sophia will be here to help you. All right, so now for some of the fun stuff. For active NMFMA members in good standing, don't forget to vote for the new board. You should have received an email already with the link to go vote. So be sure you do that by 5 p.m. today. That's when it closes. So if you haven't done it yet, do it as soon as possible. Let's see. And finally, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of sessions for today. From 9 to 10 a.m., the NMFMA's engagement director, Christina Keibler, and then also me, are going to walk you through the NMFMA services, such as liability insurance, promotional funds, market logistics, market data, and more. So this is a great way for new market managers to learn everything that's going on, all of the kind of benefits we provide to our members. Then from 10 to 11, Christina and I are going to be presenting on marketing tools and resources. Also, this is going to contain a lot of valuable information so you can get the most out of your membership with us. We'll have a break from 11 to 12. And then from 12 to 12:30, Sophia Rose, the New Mexico Farmer Programs Coordinator, and Michael Ventachinque, the NMFMA Value Chain Coordinator, are going to discuss the state's Farm to Institution program and how farmers can become approved suppliers in order to sell to schools, senior centers, and so forth. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And then finally, from 12:30 to 2, Sarah Silva will be back, and she is going to provide a clear outline of the next steps, the next conversations, and what you need to support you through your roll back home for the DEI and decision making that she had provided in the previous session on Tuesday. So be sure you stay tuned for that because you're going to get a lot of tips and tricks on what to do next. And then also at the end of the day, we're going to have a little closing thoughts from Denise Miller, who will just kind of end the conference for us. So that kind of summarizes or sums up everything that's going to go on today. So I'm going to hand it off to Christina Keibler, who's going to get us started today. So Christina, take it away.
Thank you, Michael. You also have my sharing disabled, so if you could.
Just turn that on. Yeah, I just
Turn
thought
that
about
on.
that right as I mentioned that. So I turned that on for you.
Thank you. And just so everyone knows, I'm have some illness issues that I'm getting over. So if I start coughing a lot, I will hand the presentation over my portions to Allison Penn. And Denise is in the room as well, as is Sarah Thompson. So if that happens, you know why. So, but I just want to start off. I do have a presentation to share with everyone. And we'll get this loaded and get this playing. And I just want to remind everyone that in last night's email, you would have received several handouts, one of which is an exact companion to the information that we'll present today. It's 7 pages and provides an overview of everything that we'll be talking about. There is also a special handout on GoodFoodNM, which is a companion to what Michael will be discussing very briefly in this session, and also much more extensively in the following session following this one, and also a handout on some member feedback that we received last year, which is information that we use to help create content for the coming year. So those 3 handouts are meant to supplement today's live presentations. So be sure to get those from your email, or you can also download them from the annual conference page on newmexicofma.org. And I've got the little orangey arrow there that highlights where that information can be found. Well, the first topic we have to discuss today is about the member website, which Michael will actually cover. So Michael, how about if you take that away?
All right. So yeah, as Christina mentioned, I'm going to tell you about our member website. Our member website can be found at newmexicofma.org. This is going to be your first stop as a market manager. This is where you're going to join the association, where you'll pay your dues, where you'll update the information regarding your market, such as location and hours. It's one thing I'd like to mention here is it's super important that you do keep that information updated, because it is what the customers are able to see. So whenever customers access our find a market locator, it will all be based on the information that you have provided there. Also for GoodFoodNM text, which I'll go into later, that information comes from there as well. So be sure that you keep your market information updated within the newmexicofma.org website. Also within this website, you'll be able to find out more about the New Mexico Grown Approved Supplier Program and food safety training. So not only will you be able to find out about these programs, but any events or trainings that are upcoming, you'll also find. So that's pretty good. As Christina mentioned in the last one, you'll be able to access a lot of documents in there too, such as the handouts from today's or from this year's annual conference, as well as logos, tools, and other resources. So be sure that you check that out for some useful items for you. I kind of briefly mentioned this also, but you'll be from the newmexicofma.org site, you'll be able to access registration for trainings and events. So that's going to be something like the tier 1 and tier 2 food safety training and so forth. So again, there's a lot of useful information in there. And also you can learn about food assistance programs for your market. So this is going to be SNAP, WIC, Double Up Food Bucks, Fresh RX, and so forth. Our membership coordinator is Catherine Baca. She is here on the call today, but she's going to be able to help you most with deciding which membership is best for you. She'll help get you started with your account. She'll kind of be able to answer some questions regarding your specific membership. So Kat's information is located on the slide. It's Kat Baca at farmersmarketsnm.org, and her phone number is also listed on there as well. So whenever you decide to become a member, or if you need help with your membership or your information, Kat Baca is going to be a great person to contact for that. So yeah. Next slide, please, Christina. All right, so there's going to be a lot of really useful information for new market managers that's going to be on the website. So these are a couple of toolkits that we have put together that we think that you would all, or that we found and compiled, so that way you all have access to some useful information on how to start a market. So there's going to be 3 documents in there that are going to be super helpful for you. You can see them listed on the screen. There's Growing Goodness, a toolkit for growing your New Mexico farmers market. There's also the New Mexico Farmers Market Manager Resource Guide and Getting Started with Farmers Markets from the Wallace Center. So these 3 documents are going to have a lot of, again, useful information for you all to get started on your venture in starting a market. As you can see on the left picture that we have there, it shows you the exact navigation of where you'll be able to find those things. If you go to resources, and then you go down to market managers, and then you go to start a farmer's market, that's where you'll be able to have access to these. Yeah. Next slide, please. Perfect. So whenever you log into the New Mexico FMA.org website, you'll see a lot of tools. I kind of mentioned a bunch of these at the beginning in the first slide that I talked about, but here's an actual way that you're going to be able to see where you can find them. So one of the great things that you've probably picked up from this conference is networking with your peers. It's an amazing resource, especially if you're starting a market, to figure out these tips and tricks on, applying for permits, what kind of insurance do you need, and all that stuff. So a good way to do that is through networking and talking to other market managers. So one of the cool features that we do have is we have Find Other Members. So this will show who all of the market managers are around the state. So definitely check that out, especially if maybe you had a great conversation in one of the breakout rooms with somebody, but you were unable to follow up with, you were able to get their contact information. You can do it right there. So definitely take advantage of that. We also have an events button. Its events button is going to have a different list of upcoming trainings. It's going to have just any type of event that might be happening in the NMFMA world, you'll be able to find on there. The next button is the communications button. One of the most underutilized tools, I feel, is the message board. We have a member message board where you can actually communicate with other members of the association. So you can ask questions that you might have but don't exactly know how to address it or who to address it to. That's a great place to check it out. So I would highly encourage you to use that. It is a great way that we can kind of bring you all together. You might have somebody down in Hobbs and somebody up in Shiprock, and they're not going to see each other in person, but they are able to kind of connect and communicate on the member message board. Also, another great resource from the NMFMA is our newsletter. So we send out newsletters once a month. We would encourage you to definitely let us know if you haven't been signed up for it. We'll get you signed up for it, but you can also find past newsletters within the New Mexico FMA.org website. So keep an eye out for all of the great things that are in there. And the next button is going to be the engagement button. So this is going to have any open surveys or open elections. So be sure to check this out for any type of feedback that we're looking for you, or looking for from you, so that way we can better serve you and so forth. The next button is the logos or the tools button. So this is going to include logos, downloads, the online store, member classes, and so forth. So one of the things that I'll talk about here in a little bit is some of these customizable logos that we can create for you all for your farmers market. And you're going to be able to find some of those in there. So again, check it out. You'll have lots of great things in there. And then finally, the last button on that upper toolbar is going to be multimedia. That's where you're going to be able to find some of the training videos that we put together in the past. All right, so I mentioned in the previous slide how important it is to keep your information updated. So you're going to do that through this section as well. You can see the area that's circled down at the bottom that says manage your membership market information here. So be sure to check that out.
Kat,
I see Kat has something to say. So yeah, Kat, go for it.
You got to unmute yourself, darling.
You're on mute, Kat.
You're on mute, Kat.
I clicked it, it just didn't come up. I would definitely want to say something about this area because people are confused and not aware of it when you go in here. If you click on members information, I think it says, that's where you update your profile and put in all of your contact information and your market information, like the dates, the days, times, and what type of payments you take. And then the next one is billing info, and people are not aware of this. When I send you invoices, all outlets memberships renew on April 1st. So for next week, I'll be sending out renewals for all of the outlets. And through that invoice that you receive, you'll be able to pay it online or send us a mail payment. But if you wanted to go into your profile later on and see if you owe any money, you would click on billing info, and that's where you would be able to see if there's any open invoices and pay them. So that's basically it.
Thank you, Kat.
Yeah, thank you, Kat. So yeah, everyone, that's Kat Baca. She's the membership coordinator that I was talking about. So she's going to be your go-to person for all things membership related.
And I can't find a spot where I'm either directly in the sun or I'm in the dark. So you can't see me that well. I'm sorry.
You look great, Kat. All right.
Okay.
Now I'm going to
thank you.
toss it over to Christina, who's going to tell you about the consumer website.
Thank you, Michael. And just so everyone knows, a lot of the information that we provide today will be more high level, but we, in the handout that you received yesterday, it would include the main contact person for each individual topic. So if you have more detailed questions or you want more information, you could reach out directly to that person. We have limited time, so we'll be kind of going through some of these things very quickly, but the idea is to introduce you to them as topic areas, and then we can delve in further with you one-on-one. So excuse me. The consumer website is our sister website to our membership website. While our membership website is geared more to serve you, our members, the consumer website is specifically for potential customers, shoppers, people who are interested in local food and seasonal eating and the resources that go along with those. So we have a variety of resources that are geared towards shoppers on the consumer website, which you can find at farmersmarketsnm.org. This is where the main market locator is located, where shoppers around the state can find farmers markets, farm stands, CSAs, mobile markets, grocery stores that sell locally grown and produced food. This is important for you to keep up the current location and hours of operation for your market on the member website, because that information is used to feed into the market locator. And without accurate information, then customers will not have accurate information about your outlet and where it's located and when they can shop. But the member website also has a variety of other resources that are meant to enhance the interest in local food and local eating and buying food from New Mexico farmers. This includes a great harvest calendar, which is available in English and Spanish, that people around the state can view and download in both color and black and white. There's seasonal recipes that are focused on New Mexico grown foods, blog posts that we write, and now that we have Allison on staff, we'll be able to have more time to create more New Mexico focused blog posts. We highlight grant recipients, because we do provide grants, especially during COVID-19. COVID-19 Relief Fund grants, and you can find information and posts about grant recipients under the NMFA grant recipient area. And you can see that on the far right, just a screenshot of the types of things that customers see when they visit the consumer website. Seasonal links to seasonal recipes, cooking videos, grant recipients, previous Albuquerque Journal articles, and the consumer website is also where shoppers can find more detailed information about food access programs like WIC and SNAP. So it's the go-to place for shoppers to visit, to learn about locally grown food, and not only that, how to cook with it, when's the best time to buy what's in season, and also which markets, how to find markets to get that food. This is a more detailed overview of the very important Find a Market access point on the website. It's consistently the most visited page on the consumer website. And last year, 66,000 people actually utilized it to find access to locally grown food in their area. And the Market Locator includes a variety of really helpful filters that allows shoppers to find outlets to shop at on specific days of the week, find outlets that have winter hours or that accepts credit, debit, FMNP, double up food bucks. So it's a really powerful tool that allows people to find the outlet that's most appropriate for their needs. And on the left of the Market Locator is just a running alphabetical list of all the outlets in the state. So if someone's just curious about what's available statewide, they can scroll through and see and find access to Facebook pages and links to different outlets. So it's a really great market tool, and a lot of people visit it, but it's only as powerful as the information that you put into it, which is why you have to go to newmexicofma.org and make sure your information is updated, because if it's not, this map won't be updated for your needs. And Catherine Baca, who spoke earlier, she's the one who makes sure that the information that you have on your member website is uploaded into the map, but she can only do what she can with the information that she has. So be sure to go in and check your outlet information on a very regular basis. And the next topic we have is just a very high level overview of Double Up Food Bucks program. A lot of you may have been to the two-part session with Sarah Thompson, the Double Up Food Bucks program manager, and Kirsten Hansen, the Fresh RX program coordinator. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with Double Up Food Bucks, it's a food access program that allows a dollar for dollar match for New Mexico grown food in the state of New Mexico. The funding is through the USDA, and it can feel that there's a lot of administration involved with the program because it is a federal grant. And some of the things that are asked of outlet managers who are interested in offering Double Up Food Bucks at their farmers market, farm stand, or CSA, is that the outlet manager needs to feel comfortable using email regularly, have some a fair amount of proficiency, just comfort level with using websites for the reporting that's required for this federal program. And also we need to be a member in good standing of the NMFMA. And because of the work that's involved, first year farmers markets, if you have a first year market, may be asked to offer SNAP for 1 year before you offer Double Up Food Bucks. And there's also the mandatory training, which is required before offering the program at your market. But the best way to learn more about Double Up Food Bucks in detail is to visit the Double Up Food Bucks website, which can be found at doubleupnm.org. And if you have an interest in offering Double Up at your market or have any more detailed questions, definitely contact the program manager, Sarah Thompson, who's on the call on this meeting now. It's S. Thompson at farmersmarketsnm.org. And Sarah did want me to make a special comment that if you have an existing farmers market, but you are a new market manager for that market, that you need to get a new USDA food and nutrition service authorization. So your market can continue to offer SNAP and double up food bucks. Just because the previous market manager had that doesn't mean, it doesn't follow through to you. You need to get your own. So definitely contact Sarah more for that information. So the consumer website and the member website both provide more information about the other food access programs that the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association offers in addition to double up food bucks. And these programs include SNAP, which can be used at farmers markets just like it is at grocery stores and other food outlets for items such as fruits and vegetables, meats, cheese, and other types of food. Sarah Thompson is, again, the person to contact for that information about offering that at your market and how SNAP works in more detail. There's also the WIC and Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, which you probably learn more about if you attended that session with Sarah Flores-Sievers and Veronica Griegos with the New Mexico Department of Health. And there's a lot of changes that are taking place in that program this year, but there can be very exciting changes as well. And if you have questions about the WIC Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, especially with the changes from a check system to the new digital system, you can contact the New Mexico Farmers Market Programs Manager, Veronica, at veronica.griego3@statenm.us, or her phone number is listed as well. And again, this information is also on the handout that you received, so you don't have to write furiously. And finally, there's the Fresh RX program that Kirsten Hansen, she's the program coordinator. And last year was the first year that Kirsten managed it in its new incarnation. And it's a produce prescription program. It provides incentives for participating clinic patients to purchase New Mexico grown food at farmers markets and CSAs in the state. Last year was a kind of the pilot year or the first year for the program. And as it rolls out, there'll be more participating clinics that hopefully sign up for the program. If you have more questions about Fresh RX, definitely contact Kirsten Hansen at kirsten@farmersmarketsnm.org.
All right, so another great benefit that the NMFMA offers to our members is a free customized logo. So on the screen, you can see the Bosque Farms and the El Dorado Farmers Market logo. So you can get one of these, but with your market name on there instead. This is an amazing tool to put on social media, to include in your newsletters, to do whatever you need to do in order to brand your farmers market. It's proven to attract customers, and it looks great on other forms of advertising as well. It kind of gives that nice professional polished look. So we would really encourage you to contact Allison Penn, who is our communications administrator, to get a logo just for you. So yeah, that way you can, like I said, use it on social media, newsletters, any other type of advertising you use, bulletin boards, so forth. Very sharp looking, and it'll yeah, definitely attract customers. So I would encourage you to take advantage of this wonderful resource that we offer. Yeah, and it does also give great consistency to the farmers markets around the state. So it kind of shows that you're all like united, but also your own entities. So sure, I encourage you to use one of these customized logos. Yeah, again, contact Allison Penn to get that taken care of. Let's see. So another benefit from the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association are some of the funding opportunities that we have. So we provide funding to help new markets become successful within their communities. So in order to receive some of these funding opportunities from the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association, you need to be sure to pay your membership dues. You need to submit your market information online by April 1st, and you need to provide previous year's market data by December 31st, or the current year's market data if you're a first year market. stay tuned. We'll kind of go over this a little more in detail here shortly. One of the funding opportunities that we offer is the second year market grants. These can be up to $500 to farmers markets in their second year of operation. The purpose of these grants is to assist with kind of the startup costs of opening a new market. So this can be used to building the capacity of the market through signage, through information tables, to buying a fire extinguisher, to a hand washing station, whatever those kind of costs are for starting a new market. These second year market grants can kind of help cover some of that. In order to be eligible for the second year market grants, the markets must be located in or adjacent to an area that's considered a food desert, an area that is far and remote. It's a community that's far and remote, or an area with a higher than average rate of diabetes. So definitely, if you're a second year market and you're looking to kind of build capacity in your program and you meet these requirements, definitely follow up with us and we can help you get some of this second year market grant funding.
Yeah, and the member website provides more guidance about how to determine if you are in a FAR community or other types of classifications. So definitely visit the member website for a little more detailed information on that, or you can reach out to us individually.
Cool. So some additional farmers market funding opportunities are promotional funds. So these help your market promote themselves, do some advertising, get people to know about your market, and ultimately get people to your market. So farmers markets are reimbursed at a base of $300 plus $5 per vendor for all agricultural vendors, and for arts and crafts vendors totaling no more than 25% of the total number of vendors. So that's kind of a mouthful, but we can help you figure out what the funding opportunities are for you, but it starts at a base of 300 and kind of goes up from there. Funding can be spent for any kind of promotion, outreach, or marketing to basically educate the community about your market and just promoting it specifically. Whenever you are creating these promotional pieces or these outreach opportunities, you need to be sure to focus on healthy eating, double up food bucks, SNAP, WIC and or senior farmers market nutrition programs. So those must be mentioned somehow within your advertisement or your marketing endeavor. So in order to get fully reimbursed, you do have to submit the outreach pieces or the signage that you did create using that you want to be reimbursed for. So that way we can check it out. So on the screen here, you can kind of see Aztec Farmers Market did a Facebook ad. So they paid for that with promotional funds. That is a wonderful opportunity. You can do some on Facebook. There's a lot of ways that you can kind of make sure that it's getting to the right people that would hopefully show up. So whether that's a geographic area or people who are interested in, farming and so forth. So I would encourage you to check out some Facebook opportunities. That way you can promote your program. The Corrales Growers Market did a newspaper ad and they paid for that with the promotional funds. So you can see that in the middle. I'm especially happy with this one because they promoted GoodFoodNM. GoodFoodNM is one of the programs that I run. So I was happy to see that. They made it nice and colorful, so it really grabs your attention when you're flipping through the local Corrales newspapers. That's awesome. And then you can see that Los Ranchos Growers Market did a bulletin ad, and they paid for that with the promotional funds. So that's going to be the one on the right. So this kind of is another opportunity to promote their program to get more people interested. But again, whenever you're creating these ads that you want to be reimbursed, be sure that they promote one of the following of healthy eating, double up food bucks, SNAP, WIC or seniors farmers markets and nutrition program. So again, that's kind of some ideas and opportunities for some promotional funds. So I would encourage you to definitely utilize this to benefit your market and your vendor. Right, next slide. Perfect. So one of the other services that we offer is liability insurance. So farmers markets that are paid members that are also in good standing are eligible to buy a general liability insurance through the NMFMA. So this is a general liability insurance only, so it's going to be the basics. It's not going to be the end all, see all. But yeah, the policy provides up to $2 million, $1 million per incident coverage. So hopefully none of that happens to you all, but it is better to be covered by this. And so this allows us to get our farmers markets insured. So just in case something does happen, you can be safe from all of that. The insurance covers the market and the market property in the event of a slip and fall or any other accident that can be linked directly to a vendor or other negligent party. So hopefully, again, this doesn't happen. I know we're all very careful and aware of our surroundings. So hopefully if you see any type of issues, you kind of reduce the risk before anything happens. So yeah, but in case it doesn't, there is insurance that we can help. Let's see, Kat, go ahead.
And also just, I wanted to mention on this that liability insurance is due on May 1st, and I automatically send out invoices to everybody who has had it in the past. And I'll send out a private message to all the farmers markets with the application form and all of that if they want to sign up new. But it's very important this year that everybody fills out that form and updates their information, because we're starting all over and we've had an insurance audit this year. So it's very, very critical that everybody does that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. Kat is the main point of contact for liability insurance. So if you have any questions about it, you can email her at katbach@farmersmarketsnm.org. So next, I need to move on to our next topic, which is market data. And market data is one of the things that a lot of people. I wouldn't necessarily say that they're afraid of it, because but it's an administrative task. So one of my goals is to make it more accessible and a little easier for people to approach market data. And for those of you that don't know, market data is a requirement for member markets. And it basically just is a summary of the numbers that were associated with your market for the season, and it's due by December 31st of each year. The information we collect includes things like how many people visited your market, the sales dollars is probably the biggest and most important thing that we collect, which includes ag sales dollars from farmers, and then non-ag sales dollars for the season. That might be something like someone who sells soap or crafts. But this information is critical because it allows you to track your market's progress over time. And it allows you to do things like be able to assess promotional efforts and make changes based upon what may have worked and what didn't work. So if you do use your promotional funds to advertise a program or a special event that's focused on healthy eating, if you track things like customer count and sales dollars, you'll be able to tell whether or not that advertising campaign that you invested your money in had an impact on sales and customer counts. And you can also use that information to attract new vendors. If you can show new vendors the customer counts that your market attracts on a weekly basis, or what the sales typically are at your market, that's a really solid argument for vendors to want to vend with you. Excuse me, I gotta take some water. And it's also a very powerful tool if you're working with city government or any other kind of oversight board to prove your worth for locations. Sometimes markets around the state have to fight to remain in a specific location, especially if it's like a city park. So market data is a tool that you can prove to people that, yes, the farmer's market that you're running is valuable for the community as a whole and actually contributes real dollars and real customer activity to downtown areas and that kind of thing. So market data is very good for you to collect. And when we collect it from all the farmers markets, what we do with it is compile it. And this information is very important when we work yearly with the state legislature to prove the value of local food farming and local food communities around the state, statewide level. And it provides a lot of pull for us to be able to ask for things and garner support for markets around the state and the local food economy as a whole. On the right, you can see an overview, just some screenshots of this year's market data, so you have an idea of what it looks like. But, and you would have received this on Monday afternoon in an email, this particular document. But on one side, it provides an overview of sales through time. You know, we go back to 2015 to current. In 2015, I think we were at 6 million or something like that. And now we're up to over 15 million in sales around the state, which is a significant increase. And there's also an overview of Double Up Food Bucks and SNAP sales. And then we just added Fresh RX sales to that mix this year. And then the second page details lists of the outlets around the state and a reflection of their sales for gross sales, ag sales, and also Double Up Food Bucks, SNAP, and FMNP sales. And this is just a way to see how your market stacks up against other markets around the state. So market data is very important in a lot of different ways, not only for us to help you, but for you to help your own market and your own communities. And I can definitely help you achieve any of the counts. There's like little cheat sheets we've created that can help you collect sales dollars from vendors, which we understand can be kind of a tricky, sensitive topic, but there's ways to do it anonymously that can make the vendor feel more at ease. So definitely reach out to me and the information, my contact information is in the staff contact sheet that you would have received on Monday evening. And or you can just, my email is just Christina@farmersmarketsnm.org. Lastly, we have just an overview of some of the social media newsletters that we send out. And these are all the ways that we work to get word out about local food and farming to existing local food fans around the state, and also increase awareness to people who are not yet converts about local food and New Mexico growers. We have 4 social media outlets. We have Facebook and Instagram. We have a YouTube channel, and also we do have a Twitter channel or Twitter account. And these all work to increase awareness of local food and farming around the state. And we do things like, share recipes that we create, blog posts, and also promote special events like National Farmers Market Week. We have a Local Food Connects month, and those things you'll learn about more in the following session as we talk more specifically about our outreach efforts. But one of the main things that you can do as a new market manager is to follow our social media outlets, and you can use those to feed into your own outlets. And you don't have to, you can share what we have, but you as a member are also entitled to, take screenshots of some of the things that we have, or download them from the member website and upload them as your own content. And this is just a way that we all can work together around the state to help increase awareness and interest in local food and farming in the state of New Mexico. And lastly, and then we'll take some questions that we have time.
All right, so I'll go over this kind of quickly right now because I'm going to go over it in more detail in the next session. But GoodFoodNM is a great way for farmers markets, farm stands, and CSAs to increase their repeat. So basically, we send out weekly market reminders to your customers. We send these automatically through a texting program. So we send a text message directly to your customers who opt in, who sign up to receive these text messages. So that way they can be reminded to go to the farmers markets. I know that this has been a huge help for me. I followed some of the farmers markets on here, so that way I can remember to go, and it has encouraged me to get there. But it's a free service that we offer to all of our members, farmers markets, farm stands, and CSAs. The subscribers can choose whether they want text messages in English or in Spanish, and we'll write the content for those. It's super simple to do. They opt in by texting peach or durazno to 21333, and then they're asked for the name of the market which they receive market reminders from. And that's easy enough how they register for it. Subscribers will receive 2 text messages per week. During the market season, one of those text messages is a market reminder. The other text message is anything that could be food, local food related. So it could be seasonal recipes, nutrition facts, healthy eating ideas, double up food bucks, fresh RX. All of these things are information that we send. On the left-hand side, you can see an example of what GoodFoodNM looks like on a cell phone. We also can send links that are trackable, so we know how many people are clicking on them and so forth. But yeah, it's just a great way for us to communicate with customers, and a great way for you to make sure that customers remember to go to your market. So again, I'm going to talk more about this in the next session, so stay tuned, because I'll give you some tips and tricks on how you can really use this to boost your repeat. So that kind of concludes the presentation that we had for the orientation for new market managers. So Christina and I are available for questions if you have questions about kind of what we talked about.
See a lot of comments in chat. I haven't been able to look at these. Yes, Kelly.
I'm confused about the text messaging. So our customers would opt in for the text messages. What would they respond as far as which market they would go to or get responses from? Is that something that we update as a market, or is that something y'all do for our area?
We've done it for your area already. So for example, if they're in Farmington, if they send peach to 21333, this message comes in, says, what is your preferred farmers market to receive reminders from? And they'll respond with Farmington. So as soon as they respond with Farmington, they get automatically loaded in there. So in your case, it would be Carlsbad. One of the nice things about the texting platform too is, imagine they spelled Carlsbad with a K. What it would do is it would show up on my end as like a message that was just kind of like, wait, what is this? And I'm able to actually go in there and reconcile it and say, well, this person meant Carlsbad with the C, so then I can place it in there. So yeah, we've already set it up for the markets around the state in order to receive these messages. So it's already, the back end is already done. So really, it's just about getting people to subscribe. So yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Any other questions? I figured there'd be at least a few. Denise, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I think it was really comprehensive, and it was probably so clear and comprehensive that people don't have too many questions. But I think if, like Christina said, there are just resources. If later you're like, well, what did they say about promotional dollars? Or I think there was, maybe it got answered. There was a question in chat. Oh, okay. Allison answered it about where to find the cheat sheets for tracking sales, but Allison answered that. So yeah, there's just resources. If you can't remember something later, you'll just know that you can always reach out to Christina or Michael or myself or, Kat, anybody on staff will try to help you with what you need. So if you've at least taken it in to some degree, hopefully that's a good starting point.
And Cindy has a really good question. And she asks, how accurate is the data that you receive from farmers markets? And that's a really great question, and it really depends upon the market. And I've been doing this for 7, 8 years now, and I can pretty much tell, by having looked at farmers market data from all the different markets year after year, which markets are kind of winging it, which is fine. I mean, collecting market data is not necessarily easy at all, so it's understandable. But if there's some years where a farmer's market will submit the same sales dollar that they did the previous year, and I know that's probably not, didn't happen, even though it's, the probability is low, but it's not impossible. And then there's markets that, they'll send me like their accounting records along with the sales, so, it really varies depending upon the market, and I think, last year in 2020, just because of everything that we were dealing with, that number, was not accurate, because a lot of markets just didn't have the capacity with everything else that was going on. But I would say that, each market could probably get more and more accurate, because it is a powerful tool. But I would say, it's fairly, accurate-ish. There's some markets that are very accurate, and there's some that aren't. That's the bottom line of it. But ultimately, it's better to have some idea than no idea.
Yeah, and one thing I would add on to that is if markets continue to collect data in the same way, even though, the Carlsbad market might collect their sales data slightly different than the Corrales market, but if the individual markets just continue to collect their market the same way over years, we have a consistent body of data. It's very much like Christina said, the exact accuracy, it's hard to know, but we have a consistent body of knowledge. So thank you for all that you do to collect and submit that data.
There's another question. Is a market required to have a market manager to be a member of the NMFMA? Well, this is a really interesting question. And I mean, technically, no, but I'm not sure how you could run a market without, some sort of a leader. So I'd be really interested to hear what other kind of model, would be suggested for that, if it's a committee kind of running the market, because, there does need to be some main point of contact in order to be like in our system. So
although I would just add, and I'm not sure, I don't see the question, so I'm not sure the person who maybe they want to speak up, but there are other categories of membership. So if the person was specifically asking about for a farmer's market, then we do need a point of contact for the market, but there are other categories of membership in the NMFMA. So you could be a farmer, you can be an organization that's allied to the field, you can be a co-op, a farm stand. So then you don't need to be a market manager. But
right, the question, I think the question specifically was, do you have to have a market manager for a market?
There does need to be a point of contact.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi. This is Carrie down with the Socorro Farmers Market. And I believe that was Darla who asked that question, who's also here with our market.
Correct.
I think what we're feeling right now is we're a whole bunch of new people trying to make this happen. And when we put one person in charge and we don't all know what we're doing or what the requirements are, then we kind of get in this place where the ball gets dropped, or we don't know how to do the reporting, or we don't know this or that. So we're kind of discussing holding off on a specific market manager this year and having the board kind of co-tag team that. I mean, we can, if we need to say the president or the vice president or whoever is the contact with you guys as quote unquote market manager. We're okay with that, but we were kind of thinking that we would be all kind of splitting these duties, learning how things are. And then once we get ourselves kind of picked back up and put back together, then that's when we could address hiring a manager again and training them and all of this and expecting them to keep up. But we just kind of feel like we can't expect somebody to keep up with something that we don't even know how to do. So that was kind of how her question was, where her question came from.
Yeah, I'd say that makes, I mean, it makes sense. And I know I see the dilemma, but I would say that there should be one person that could be a main point of contact. You know, that individual doesn't necessarily have to, you know, be in charge of anything, but they do need to be a main point of contact so they can, you know, coordinate and kind of make sure that, you know, things are getting done that need to be done. You know, it's one specifically be a connection within, you know, our database, because it does need to be an individual.
Yeah,
You
and
can
that's
also
what
have like cross-referenced members. So a farmer's market could have a market manager and then some related individuals who are connected to that market. So it can be multiple people, but one of them has to be the main one.
Yeah,
okay.
and Carrie, if you want to reach out to me later, I can also give you some further background on how some other markets have done that in the past. There have been markets that have very successfully shared duties and kind of like how that played out. So I'd be happy to give you some historical, you know,
Yeah, we would love
reference on
that.
that.
Definitely.
Okay.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
no
We
problem.
have.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie and Darla. We have time for one more question. Joe and Rhonda have their hand up, and then we need to start our next session, which is related. So
this has to do with context. Do markets typically provide a phone number for them? Because I get a lot of calls about other markets, and that's fine based on what I know, but I don't have the phone numbers of other contact people.
are you talking about contacts for other markets?
Yes,
Or,
yes, phone numbers though.
you can, if you go to the market locator on farmersmarketsnm.org, I mean, you can see, you know, you can scroll the list of outlets around the state, and there'll be contact information there. Like if you scroll, there'll be a little link that says more details. If you click on that, it'll have a pop-up that'll have the market manager's name and contact information.
Thank you. I didn't know that was available.
Yeah, we have a lot of tools, you know, that markets can use. And, you know, one of the things we need to do a better job of letting you all know what all those tools are. Okay, so for now, we'll shift gears and we'll begin our next session, which is, I just forgot the name of it. Oh, just marketing tools and resources. And for that session, I'll switch it back to Michael, who can do his tech, you know, spiel again.